Call the meeting of Monday, April 25th to order, and if the clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald. Here. Councilmember Fisher.
Here.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Moeller. Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes from the regular meeting of April the 11th. If we have a motion to receive and file those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there any corrections to the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. We have one presentation tonight. Clerk would like to read it.
And it is recognizing April 29th, 2011 as Arbor Day in the city of Port Huron.
Chief Ike will join me at the podium. Whereas Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas the Forestry Department of the City of Port Huron, in cooperation with the Port Huron Area School District, will celebrate this year's Arbor Day on April 29 by planting trees at Garfield Elementary School at 1:30 p.m. And whereas Port Huron has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for the 14th year and desires to continue in tree planting practices, now therefore I, Pauline M. Rep., by the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Port Huron, and on behalf of Council Members Archibald, Fisher, Lewandowski, Miller, Moeller, and Ruiz, do hereby issue the certificate of recognition as a symbol of our thanks and appreciation to all those involved with the planting of trees in our community. Now we'll give that to Chief Ike. Do you want to say a few words?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it,
Move on to public hearings.
The following public hearings are to hear comments on 6 code cases to determine whether they constitute a nuisance as defined by Chapter 10, Section 10-211, and Chapter 34, Section 34-3 of the Port Huron City Code. The first code case is number 10-031, located at 807-809 Stanton Street. Following the public hearing, council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak to the City Council about public hearing number 1? Please come to the podium and state your name, please. Seeing no one, I declare public hearing number 1. Pardon me? Oh, I guess I could have had that. Yes, Ms. Harmer, if you'd like to come up, and maybe you'd like to come up and then just stand there and you can get up for each one. Before I close it.
I feel like I'm teaching a class. Thank you.
Your assistant will help you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The first public hearing is with regards to 807, 809 Stanton Street. This particular property, the water was shut off in September, and the county sold it through an auction. There were property taxes that were actually past due, a little over $3,600, and the lot itself, even though the unit held at one time 3 units, the lot itself is only sufficient size for a single-family dwelling. You can see from some of the damage that there's been numerous leaks in the roof. The foundation is in rough shape. The building has not been maintained, and in fact, we had cut the grass several times last fall. We are in touch with the new property owner who is out of state and living in California, a real estate agent. She has expressed a desire at this point to demolish the property. We'd like to continue to work with her, but we felt that it was important to continue to move on with the code case process in the event that she does not pull a demolition permit in time.
Okay. Does anyone in council have any questions about this code case? Okay, then we have the resolution before us, which would be for immediate demolition. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski. Any discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald? Yes. Councilmember Fisher?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Move on to public hearing number 2.
This is for code case number 10-035, located at 1122 Church Street. Following the public hearing, council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations.
Perhaps you'd just like to go ahead first, and then I'll see if anyone wants to speak.
Thank you. Property 1122 Church Street also has been vacant. The water's been shut off for a year now. The staff had been able to contact the previous owners who indicated that they were going to be going through a foreclosure process. We then were informed late in 2010 that there was a new owner, again out of state. This individual had expressed a desire to make repairs, but once they received the list of repairs and photographs, had opted not to go forward. They then in turn tried to sell the property to someone else who was working with our office, and again, that individual decided not to go forward with the sale, and so that's why we bring it before you this evening. The foundation is in bad shape. The roof, of course, as you saw, the windows have been patched in the front, but there is quite a bit of water damage inside, and the neighbors, of course, have expressed frustration. And in fact, we received a letter from the adjacent property owner who's been very patient, thinking that someone would buy it and fix it up, but to no avail. So we would like to move forward with this one as well.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council on public hearing number 2? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and we can move forward if someone would like to make a motion to approve the resolution for demolition.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz. Is there discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Fisher?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to public hearing number 3.
This is for code case number 11-002, located at 444 12th Street. Council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations if the terms of the work agreement are not complied with. That will be considered after the public hearing.
Go ahead if you do.
Council members, we do have a bit of good news actually on this piece of property. We have a buyer, and I'd like to thank Bauer Reno for working so closely with us. They've been excellent on this project. The buyer, Mr. Joseph Randall, has already signed a work agreement. He's agreed to fast track it, and in fact, he has a rental home that he will be moving out of by the end of June, and so the property will be completed by the 1st of July and have a certificate of occupancy. He's also requested permission to go in ahead of time and start cleaning out the debris, and has been working very closely with our staff. This is all pulled together just in the last 3 weeks, and I would like to thank him for his efforts on this property. So it's with staff's recommendation that we go ahead as a code case, but only if, in fact, the work agreement is not satisfied.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council? Yes, please come forward.
Kathleen McCready, 414 14th Street, and that's the house I thought it was. It's been under repair on and off for a long time. Anything to improve conditions, situations regarding blighted properties in the neighborhood can also lead to situations that are detrimental to the landlord and the tenant. They can fall beyond the scope of today's regulations, stressing tenants, neighbors, and charitable institutions from lessons I've learned this past week. The safety of our residents should also be of utmost concern. I believe there's a work agreement on the property at 13th and Young, and it's not been adhered to from anything that I've seen. If you can reassure me that this is going to improve the neighborhood, that's great, but I would proceed with caution. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council on public hearing number 3? Declare public hearing number 3 closed. Do we have a motion to have immediate demolition if in fact the work agreement is not complied with?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Fisher. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, if I could, I would just say, look at the pictures there, the house with some siding, and I took note of the roof, and it looked like it was in better shape. I could see it needs work, but it looks in better shape than some of the other previous houses, so I think it'd be reasonable to give a person a chance to see if those corrections could be made on the timetable she's worked out with Ms. Harmer.
Is there any other discussion? Yes, Councilmember Fisher.
I think it's encouraging that someone's willing to invest in our community and willing to follow the rules and enter a work agreement, and those are the type of things I feel we need to reward people for doing rather than punishing them. So I'm thrilled that someone has entered a work agreement, and it looks like we can do this, because you can only pull so many teeth before your jaw doesn't work anymore. So we can't tear down every house in every neighborhood, so we have to keep some.
Any other discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Public hearing number 4.
It's for code case number 11-003, located at 1414 Chestnut Street. Following the public hearing, council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations.
Go ahead.
Thank you. 1414 Chestnut Street, the water was shut off in October. Family members were actually living in the house. The owner lives out of state, and before they left, they unfortunately took it upon themselves to tear off the front enclosed porch. At some point in time in the next 30 to 40 days after that, before inspectors got out, someone else went out and, of course, stripped it of the copper and any stainless steel or scrap metal that could be. When we contacted the property owner down in Kentucky, they indicated that renting to the family member was their last resort, and they have since then turned it back over to the bank. We've contacted the mortgage company, and they have not responded. So we would like to move forward with this one as a code case.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address public hearing number 4? Yes, please come forward.
Hello, council members. My name is Janetta Pittman. I'm an attorney that's been retained by the mortgage company, City Mortgage. Just received this file on Friday afternoon. Been speaking at length with my client. As of right now, foreclosure sale date is scheduled for May 5th, 2011. City Mortgage is only a lien holder at this point, so right now our hands are tied. My client's hands are tied. They have been out and secured the property. They have boarded up some of the windows and put padlocks on. They have been cutting the grass and maintaining. At this point, they've instructed me to appear here, get a list of violations, and then ask for more time so they can assess if they will be repairing this or what exactly they would like to do at this point. We're just asking for a little bit more time to kind of assess the situation, because like I said, we are not the title holder at this point. We just have an interest in the property and our lien holders.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the City Council on public hearing number 4? Did you have something else to say? Go ahead.
No, excuse me, I
Oh,
was just,
okay.
this is the first we had heard of the mortgage company. We've been sending our correspondence to MERS, and I was just offering the attorney the full set of interior pictures and a copy of the work agreement so that she could get an understanding of exactly the condition.
How long
of
did
the
you say
home.
this has been going on, this particular property?
The water was shut off at the end of October.
Okay. Thank
We've
you.
been sending notices out. Well, we responded to this in November and have sent the official code case notices out beginning the 1st of February. So,
Thank you. Do we have, go ahead if you had a question before we have a,
Well, no, we have to have a motion
Yeah.
before we have questions.
I didn't know if you had a question about the public hearing, you just want to continue. Okay, we'll have do we have a motion to approve the demolition? So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski. Discussion. Yes, Councilmember Fisher.
What's the street frontage?
The lot is 51 by 165, which does make that a conforming lot for a single-family dwelling. The structure itself is only 735 square feet.
Thanks.
Any other discussion from City
Hey, Rob.
Council? Yes, Councilmember Moeller.
I have a question for the legal counsel, their counsel. I'd like to know who she's representing.
My client is City Mortgage.
Who's the individual that's involved?
My client contact, Aaron Theobald, and the mortgagor is Edwin Ryan.
Edward who?
Ryan is the owner of the property, but my contact at City Mortgage is Aaron Theobald and also a Jim Bauer.
And what's your, what do you guys want to do with it then?
Like I said, they just would like some more time to assess, send a contractor out there. We don't even have a list of the code violations of the house to assess if it's something that they are willing to fix. Even so, a lot of my clients choose to demo the property on their own and get own bids and demolish the property if it is so ordered. They just need some time to assess the violations. Speaking with Ms. Theobald, she said she called the property planning division and she couldn't get a specific answer as to a list of the violations and whatnot. And when I called on Friday, it was hard to get to the right, since it was a holiday, to get a list of the violations to get to my client. So if the property is ordered demolished, we would just like some time in between now and then to assess the property and maybe secure bids. My client would like to secure bids on their own to demolish the property.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Moeller.
I would move that we postpone this to the regular scheduled meeting of May, see if there could be a change in plans. If they want to demolish it, I'd assume they do it than us.
Is there a second to
I'll
Council?
support that.
Tom Miller, is there any discussion on the postponement?
Mayor,
Yes.
when did you say it would go for sale?
It goes for sale May 5th, 5/5/2011, which will be when we have legal right to enter the property and see, or let a contractor in there to clean up anything or do anything. But right now, it would bring my client under harm of lawsuit if they were to go in and do anything to the property when technically they're still just a lien holder and no sheriff's sale has been held. So we just want to wait until that sale date and then go into the property, send a contractor, and see if we can make any changes, and if not, demolish the property according to what the city would like, if it's obviously a nuisance and not worth the client's money or time to fix up and rebuild, because it seems like it's in pretty bad shape, then they would go forward and do that.
Any other discussion? Yes, Councilmember Fisher.
I would support waiting on this so that the city taxpayers are not on the hook for tearing this down. So,
Okay. Any other discussion? We'll take the vote on postponement.
Can I clarify, was that for May 9th's meeting?
Second meeting of the May.
Second meeting.
Second regular meeting of May.
Okay. Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher,
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Public hearing number 5.
For code case numbered 11-004, located at 929 Court Street. Following the public hearing, council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations, subject to the approval of the State Historic Preservation Office and the Port Huron Historic District Commission.
Dick, go ahead.
929 Court Street, the water's been shut off since July of 2010. The property owners, we tried to work with them. At one point, they thought they had a buyer and were unable to secure that. We have then started it as a code case. We have it going before the HDC, the Local Historic District Commission. They're meeting in May, which I believe is May 10th, and are awaiting for instructions from the State Historic Preservation Office as well. So this property itself, unfortunately, has quite a bit of issues with, well, as you can see, as the supports, there has been a lot of deterioration.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council on public hearing number 5? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. And do we have a motion to approve demolition?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Lewandowski. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz, is there discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Moeller.
for Kim, I guess, how, the owners are actually, for a change, residents of the city of Fort Huron, what's their feelings?
Unfortunately, they're in the process of losing the home. They tried to rent it out and were unsuccessful, and they have not responded to any of our requests.
They're still residents of the city, according to the,
They have not responded to us lately. I'm assuming that, but we have not gotten any callbacks from them, so.
okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes,
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher.
No.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
No.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to public hearing number 6.
Is for code case number 11-005, located at 917 Howard Street. Following the public hearing, council will consider approving the immediate demolition of the structure for listed violations.
Council members, 917 Howard Street, unfortunately, we have tried over the years to work with the property owner. This was in an area that we continued to do some work and to try to renovate that block. Unfortunately, they are overdue in their property taxes by a few years, and the property is reverting back. The lot itself is only 31 feet wide, so it's a non-conforming lot. And the building itself, obviously, as you can see, has not been cared for. They have not responded to any of our requests, and the mail that we forwarded to the second address that we had for them has continually come back as unclaimed and not forwardable.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on public hearing number 6?
Yes.
Just come forward, please, and give us your name.
My name is Michael Beam. Used to be the property owner. The house was repossessed by Wells Fargo Bank back in July of 2009 after going through a bankruptcy. We were told to get out. We got out. That house wasn't in that bad a shape when we left it. The neighbors across the street have told me that people have been breaking into it. They've broken windows out of it. They've taken, and the neighbor, I know which neighbor is doing, is the one right next door where his garage is hooked to my garage. And he stole door parts. He stole the side door off the garage. This is all by neighbors across the street that's told me this. I do not live in this town. I live up in Hale. My wife lives in this town, but we do not live together anymore. I don't know. I've been trying to contact Trot and Trot. As far as I know, Wells Fargo Bank took possession of the house, but they will not return my phone calls. I need to, I can't afford to pay for you to have that demolished. I mean, I'm more than willing to fix it up, but I can't even pay for somebody to come in and do it. I gotta have to do the work myself. And I'm only home once a month.
So you're not sure who owns the house?
I do not know who owns the house. All I know is it was foreclosed in July of 2009.
Okay.
And I've had my son go over and keep the grass cut and stuff through the summer because we didn't want to get in tickets or anything for it. But we've constantly contacted Trot and Trot, which was the lawyers for these people, and they flat refused to return any of my phone calls. I don't know what else to do with it. I mean, I'm more than willing to go back in and start fixing it back up, but right now I can't afford to do it on your schedule because I only make $12 an hour working. And I'm only home once a month. I can't afford to pay for the demolish on it, and the back property taxes, if I have to, I'll go work with the county on that. I'm trying to get, right now, I didn't pay nothing on it because, as far as I was concerned, they had taken the house. I don't know what to do with it right now. I mean, I'm kind of at a loss. You know, I mean, if you want me to fix it up, I'm going to have to ask for an extension and give me some time to fix it up if I'm still listed as a legal owner, or if I'm still the legal owner of it. I don't even know if I'm still even the legal owner of the house.
Well, I think from what, we'll ask Ms. Harmer when you're finished, but I believe that she stated that the bank owns it now.
What we have as far as the records, it shows that Trot and Trot and Wells Fargo are the contacts for the property.
Okay.
They keep sending me the notice and it shows me as the legal owner. I'm not even, I don't know.
Well, thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council on public hearing number 6? Declare the hearing closed. Do we have a motion to proceed with the demolition?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Archibald. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rapp,
Yes, Councilmember Moeller.
I don't know if I didn't hear or didn't understand what Kim said. The bank has contents. Who owns the property?
We have Trot and Trot down as a land contract holder, and we have Wells Fargo down as responsible party for contacts. And that's who we've been making contact with, as well as an address on Oak Street for Mr. Beam, that those letters have been coming back as not forwardable. I don't have anything that shows a foreclosure process completed. They don't normally send us that. We just look to see who is listed on our title search that we do, and that's Trot and Wells Fargo at this point.
Mayor Rapp,
Yes,
I would
Councilmember
move that
Moeller.
we postpone this until the first meeting in May so that we can find out who the legal owner is. I'd hate to strap Mr. Bean any more than he already is strapped, if he's not the legal owner.
Do we have a second for Councilmember Moeller's motion to postpone?
I'll support that.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Is there any discussion on the postponement?
Well,
Yes,
I guess,
Councilmember Fisher.
to me, if they're listed as the contact people and that's who the register of deeds and a title search, same thing as you buy a party, or if you buy a property, then I would say that they're the property owner. So, and not Mr. Beam at all. I don't see him as being responsible for this.
I agree with you, but I'm just not satisfied with the answer that we got from the planning department, so I'd like to be sure before we do something.
You said that that was a land contract, correct?
It's listed as a land contract holder, Trot and Trot is, and then the responsible party is Wells Fargo. So,
I mean, I don't know if there's a difference, but I would assume if it's a land contract as opposed to a bank mortgage, that if someone doesn't pay their payments on a land contract, it reverts back to the previous property owner with no foreclosure, formal foreclosure. I'm not sure. Yeah, but maybe we can have an answer here from our attorney.
They would do a foreclosure. It's odd to me that Trot and Trot would be a land contract holder. They're a law firm that handles foreclosure, so I don't know how that would have came about.
Yeah.
But ultimately, land contracts would get foreclosed on.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, it is a mortgage through
Okay.
Franklin Mortgage, but Wells Fargo bought the account out.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, Councilmember Lewandowski.
Kim, I don't know if you have the answer, but who would you send the bill to for demolition on what you have there, I guess? Who would the bill go to?
to be honest with you, we send it to all three,
Yeah.
just the same as the legal notices.
Any other discussion? This is, oh, go ahead, Mayor
I
Pro
would
Tem
just,
Miller.
I think maybe Mr. Muller's right. I think maybe it's advisable to get a little bit of clarification on this, and we can just readdress this in a few weeks. I don't know if there's really that much of an urgency for 2 weeks, but that's just my opinion.
Is there any other discussion on the postponement? Okay, we'll take the vote on the postponement. That would be till May the 9th.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
No.
Councilmember Fisher?
No.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
No?
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller?
Yes,
Mayor Rep.
No. It failed. We still have the motion before us to authorize demolition of the property. Is there any further discussion? We'll take a vote on the demolition.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller?
no,
Councilmember Ruiz?
No.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We're through with the public hearings. Now it's public comment time. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the city council on any item either on the agenda or off that pertains to the city, please come forward and give us your name.
Good evening, Margaret Enright. I just have a couple of statements. One is, I see we're going to lose Randy Fernandez as 2 jobs here in this city, and I wish him all the best for going to where he is going, and I think he's done a fine job at McMorran. I was wishing he would stay a little longer and get some more things done. And the second thing is, I wanted to invite everybody in the city of Port Huron to go to our Neighborhood Watch program tomorrow evening, 6 o'clock, down at the Seaway Terminal. There's not a whole lot of people here, but I sure hope we have a good turnout tomorrow night, because I think it's really important to have a neighborhood watch. Anybody that belongs to one now knows how important it is to have one in your neighborhood. And I wish we get a good turnout for tomorrow night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Enright. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the city council?
Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, Council, Ken Harris of 1521 Wells Street. While many businesses in downtown have survived and thrived, unfortunately several have not. The common issues is they did so with their own investments. Unlike the Sperry's building, which has no investor monies, only loans, grant, and public monies. The only ingredient missing is the involvement of Mr. DeFeo. But the risk to the taxpayers is the same. Mr. Atchison had higher visions for this community, and he did so. He did it with his own money. Unfortunately, I don't think we have those circumstances here. I do think we need the investments in down Port Huron. I think our Port Huron businesses, like the Vintage Tavern over here, must endeavor to make their business strong by making improvements, but doing it at their own risk. I think, unfortunately, the project that we're having with the Sperry's building leaves the city of Port Huron and the county residents with a lot of risk. Secondly, I'd like to talk about, on behalf of the St. Clair County Central Labor Council. On May 1st, under the Blue Water Bridge at the Flag Plaza, we're going to celebrate the anniversary of the OSHA Act, which is the Employees Act for Safety and stuff. If I'm right and correct at this time, the governor of the state of Michigan is proposing doing away with my OSHA, which protects workers at their work, and there's many people who have lost their lives because of industrial accidents. I would like to invite everybody down there on May 1st at noon. We're going to have kind of a commemorative thing. We've lost thousands over the years in industrial accidents, and I don't think it's ever going to stop. We have right now a gentleman who's buried in a mine out west, and we don't know if they're ever going to get to him. I think that we have to remember these people like our veterans. They did their veteran service for the country by working in industrial shops. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the city council under public audiences this evening?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, City Manager. Jason Sawyer, 712 Huron Avenue. I just wanted to take this time to come up and talk a little bit about this event that we have coming up called Art on the River. June 11th and 12th down on Quay Street by the Black River. Basically, we are going to have an event that basically circles everything from Heritage Park towards the end of the West Quay parking lot. We are going to have art vendors down by the river. We are going to have music, food, possibly a beer tent once that gets okayed, as well as some other interesting excitements and activities. We do have space for vendors. It's $50 for the weekend. It's going to be from 10 to 6, both Saturday and Sunday. If anybody has any questions or has any comments or would like to apply for the event, the application is available on our website, www.cvcph.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawyer. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address City Council on?
Good evening. Hope you all had a wonderful Easter. My name is Angela Kelly, and I know that any comments regarding the DDA budget is scheduled for May 9th. I am concerned a little bit about some of the budget items, and I'm hoping, I did pull this off of course, online, maybe there could be just a little bit more clarification in regards to the Blue Water Fest expenses. And I'm sad to see only $5,000 is being set aside for advertising and promotion. I think because of the businesses that are downtown are very, much so struggling. This is paid out of their taxes, and that their tax dollars should be used to promote the historical district and also the businesses down there. And I also pose the question or make a request that, so they don't have to search so deeply, or even, because a lot of people are busy running their businesses, that this be sent to every single business that is downtown or that pays taxes. I think they should be aware and not, not have to dig for the information. They should know how their dollars are being spent. And I thank you for your time, and I hope you will keep an open mind. I'm also community liaison besides just a community member for Citizens for Vibrant Community regarding the Art on the River event. And we are asking for some funding and for support, and this also plays into that too, and other funding sources. So, thanks again for the great job you guys do.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kelly. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Johnny Dog, Port Huron. Just happened to have been reading this paper here, and I see you're going to be changing the ordinance again for the 5th year in a row. Is that correct?
The ordinance is in front of us, proposed tonight for its first and second reading.
And I'm just curious, what are your intentions as far as me running my hot dog cart that I've been out there for the last 4 years?
We will discuss that when we get to that ordinance.
Okay, and another question is, if I was a family member of anybody up there in the council, or per se you as the mayor, would I be treated more fairly? That's a big question in my mind, and the public's. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Hi, my name is Paul Schultz. Live at 1327 Baird Street. And, oh yeah, I wanted to say I was running for city council. I took out a petition the 20th. I just want to say you're all doing a fine job. I think they should get some more food carts along the river. Yeah, and I just think this is a fine city. I'm glad to be here. And I wanted to say something about my ma. She would have been 81 yesterday. 23rd. Died 3 years ago, Marjorie Schultz. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
How you doing, Mayor and City Councilman? My name is Robert Jolly. I own Jolly's ice cream truck, and if we can't, we pay our permits and stuff, we should be able to go down on the parkways and stuff. At that time, as a small business owner, we don't stop in the roads, we pull over and stuff like that. We don't have a bike right now, so it'd be just a truck that we have for now. We would do better business, but we also put back into the business too, as well as the community. We take our kids on field trips to the Y and stuff like that. We take them out to the parks when we don't operate the truck, when we just feel like taking a day off and going on our own time. My girlfriend and I, she's got 6 kids. We like taking family trips to parks, zoos and stuff like that. So we put all that little extra money that we can make off that truck into doing things with our kids and stuff, into helping out. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the City Council this evening?
Mayor, Council, Don Dudash, Port Huron Township, but I'm with the Lions. We are in the park, Just want to clarify, when we get to the ordinance, we are going to have public discussion at that time tonight, or is this the only time for public discussion?
This is the only time for public discussion. The rest of the discussion at the time is for the council.
Okay. We just want to make sure that we've been in the park for 35 years. We have full support of anybody else that wants to come along the boardwalk, whatever, as long as all ordinances are equal, everybody's on the same basis, everybody's paying the same kind of rent as we are, as everybody else. Those sort of things are addressed. As long as we're all on equal footing, we're all willing to compete.
Okay, fine.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address City Council?
Hello, everyone. I didn't know if I was able to address when the ordinance came up or now. So my name is Jeff Diggins. I live at 440 11th Street in Port Huron, and Diggins family's been a member of this community for over 70 years. I'd like to say that I'm trying to start a small business myself. I have a unit, which is a motorized unit, and I've spent $50,000, invested $50,000 into this unit. So for me to not be able to go to specific places in the city that I was born and raised in to make a living, I don't think would be right. Okay, so I'm just saying everybody should be able to do things with what they have, especially where the economy is now. I mean, with the economy, there's no jobs. So for a person to be able to have a small business and to do things in the community, even to give other people jobs, would be helpful to our community. So I just want to say, if everybody, if you see things that's done the right way, because everybody has to go through this process, through the health department, through the vendors and all that. So if it's all legal and all the regulations are taken care of, then why not have people be beneficial to the city? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening? Declare public audience is closed, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Miller. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Fisher, thank you. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. On the consent agenda, there's a public hearing scheduled for May the 9th to hear comments on the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the Community Development Division. A public hearing on May the 9th for code cases at 722 12th Street, 1814 17th Street, 1819 Kern Street, 1915 Division Street, 2862 Mason Avenue, and 724 Ontario Street. Jeff Wine is appointed to the Planning Commission for a term to expire August the 11th. It does say 2011, is that correct? Before I go on. Resolution number 4, I just realized it on the agenda, so I'm looking at the item.
Yes.
Okay, it
That's
is.
correct.
So it's only a couple of months.
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Appointing Richard Welser to the Construction Board of Appeals for a term to expire June 30th, 2012. Reappointed Donna Clune, Mike Rosso, and Lynn Sikori to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, terms to expire April 14th, 2014. Confirmed the appointment of Jenny Bulgreen to the Downtown Development Authority for a term to expire February 9th, 2015. Confirm the appointment of Trina Abadizian to the Quality of Life Commission for a term to expire September the 28th, 2012. Directed the city clerk to remove any objections by the city with the Michigan Liquor Control Commission for certain renewal of certain liquor licenses due to delinquent payment of taxes, utility payments, and/or income tax reporting. Confirmed and declared single lot special assessments in the total amount of $697.96 for special trash pickup and/or removal of ice and snow in the right-of-way. Transmitted the tentative budget of the Port Huron Downtown Development Authority for 2011-12 fiscal year and scheduling a public hearing for May the 9th. And scheduling a public hearing for May the 9th to hear comments on the proposed 2011-2012 budget, and scheduling a public hearing for May the 9th to hear comments on the proposed 2011-12 through 2016-17 capital improvement program. And that is the consent items, and we will move on to from the city manager, number 1.
Is a recommendation that the bid of Lawn Pro LLC in the amount of $614 per week for weekly lawn mowing services of 6 city parks be accepted.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second?
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller, is there discussion? You will take the vote.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald. Yes. Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. City Manager number 2.
Is a recommendation that the bid of McNaughton McKay Electric Company in the amount of $5,326 for a PowerFlex 400 variable frequency drive for a tower fan of the odor control scrubber at the wastewater treatment plant be accepted.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lewandowski, is there a second?
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller, is there any discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
No.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. City Manager number 3.
Is a recommendation that the bid of Landtech Products Incorporated in the amount of $17,279 for 3 different types of air scrubber media for the wastewater treatment plant odor control system be accepted.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Archibald. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Lewandowski, is there discussion?
Mayor Rep?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Go ahead, Al.
I guess I got a question for Bob.
Yes.
Mayor Rep and council members.
Bob, are we adding on to our odor control, or is it something that's new, or is it something that we're just replacing?
The media that is used to interchange the chemicals that remove hydrogen sulfide and ammonia from the air, that media has deteriorated to a point that we needed to replace it. We had an item in our budget, and we had planned to replace the media with the existing media, but we found that it was very expensive. So what we did is we looked at 3 different types of media and came in on a new product line. We did some research and evaluated those 3 options and decided that the lower cost option would work admirably for our purposes.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, hence the competitive profit bid by the same company over.
Yes,
not the same
we're only going to buy 1 media type, but we let them bid 3 different types of media, and 1 company bid 2 different types, and then a second company bid the existing type.
There's no significant difference in quality of product for the.
Yeah, that's something we had to fully evaluate, but an evaluation was done. We looked at all the product information and determined that, in fact, the interface between the chemicals and the air would be as good or better with this lower cost product.
Thanks, Bob.
Did you have a question, Councilmember Fisher?
Yeah, it's almost all been covered, but I guess what I'm understanding is the air scrubber is something going to be just on a lot bigger scale. I might buy a mask for particulates, or not even particulates, for odor, if I was going to do some spray painting or some different work like that. I'm going to have a filter. It's going to be carbon. In a personal case, it's going to filter out some of the dangerous chemicals. This is something vaguely similar, I assume, that is filtering out odor as it is going to exit the building.
It's not really filtering.
Removing.
Yes, it is. It's stripping. What happens is, and I have an example of filter media if you want to look at it, but what you have is there's a lot of these plastic material with a high amount of surface area, and they're in these pack towers. And we inject liquid at the top of the pack tower, and that liquid falls down and it covers the surfaces of the media. Then what we do is we bring the air that has hydrogen sulfide and ammonia in it into the pack tower from the bottom. And as we force the air up through the pack tower with the chemical present, it chemically reacts to the hydrogen sulfide and the ammonia in the air. And when it reaches the top, now that material is combined with the liquid in the pack tower and doesn't go up through the smoke, the stack. The liquid is then brought back to the front of the plant for further treatment and processing. So we're actually grabbing something out of the air and then treating it by our own wastewater plant by stripping it with this liquid.
Okay, so this is something that's going to help or continue to help make the area near there
It
not
keeps,
smell as bad.
it keeps the most offensive odors under control. Yes. What I like to say.
Any other discussion or questions for Mr. Clegg?
Mayor Rapp,
Yes, Councilmember Mueller.
what was the budgeted amount for this, Bob?
The budgeted amount was slightly less than the amount of the recommendation because we had only planned to do, excuse me a moment, please, so I can get that. We had only planned to do half of the installation. There are two towers, and we had planned to do one this year and one next year. And that's because of the high cost of the existing product line. But when we took bids and evaluated and found that we could get this product for just slightly over what the original budget was, we're recommending doing both towers at once. And that will give us a better situation and better control of odors. The original budget amount was $14,000, but we've been saving quite a few dollars at the facility this fiscal year, and we believe there's sufficient dollars to pay the difference between the $14,000 and the $17,279.
Go back to Mr. Lewandowski's question. It's a replacement?
This replaces the existing filter media, which is currently blinding.
It's not new, it's just a replacement?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So if you said that you were going, part was in this and part was for next budget year, so this replaces what you would have done next year too?
Yes, correct.
So you're just spending it all in one?
Yes, we would find it a little more efficient to buy it this way.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Move on to resolutions.
Number one is approving the agreement with Signature Professional Group to provide event production services during the 2011 Rockin' the River music events.
Do we have a motion?
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Archibald, is there discussion? I wonder if we could have Nancy Windsor.
Nancy should.
Mayor Rep, Councilman.
Good evening. I just wondered, it does state in here that there's no direct cost to the city, that this is being paid for by event sponsors. I just wanted to
That's
clarify
correct.
that.
This is the third year of the program, and we've been very fortunate with the community support. The contract in front of you is already fully covered by sponsors. We've already sponsored all the artists. We've gotten $32,000 in sponsorship already, and really just trying to raise sponsors now for some of the marketing and incidentals that can be cut back, but there'll be no direct cost to the city budget.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who has a question at all for Nancy?
Other than
Yes.
it's a nice culture event for the city, and it's been well done in the past, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think the community really enjoys it, so it's nice that we have the sponsors.
We've had a lot of out-of-town people that have come even up to us, and we're from Warren and wherever, come to the event, so I think it's been good.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher.
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Miller.
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. The next resolution is number 9.
Is to review and approval of a memo of understanding between Landmark Development LLC and the City of Port Huron regarding the Sperry's Building project.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. Is there a second?
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Miller. I wonder if before discussion, if perhaps, Mr. Brown, we could have an explanation of all of it, could invite the gentleman.
Mr. Johnson and Mr. White are in the audience. They are the developers, and they can explain this matter to the city council.
Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, and City Council. Appreciate all the community's support for the project so far. The Sperry Building, it's been a long process. At this point in the juncture, we're looking at firming up several of our sources of financing. And one of the things that we need is to memorialize the roles of the city and Landmark on the project, and that's what we clarified here, specifically for the Betty grant and the Section 108 loan. And it's acknowledging each other's roles, the jobs that we're going to create, the investment we're making of being $12.5 million. And just as a point of clarification too, we have approximately $7.5 million in tax credits, and it's often a misunderstood concept, but those tax credits actually represent private investment, and that credit gives an investor a premium, which makes investment in a property like this that's been vacant for 5 years more attractive in the private sector financing world. But that's not government money that comes to the project. The Section 108 loan and the Betty grant are, and the rest of it is private monies that will have guarantees and will all be at-risk money in the project. But we're getting very close to wanting to announce a formal groundbreaking date. It took us a better part of a year to secure all these different layers of financing for it, and all of our most of the final answers came in at the end of February and beginning of March. We've got a couple more million that we're in process of asking for right now for some additional financing. Once we have that secured, we'll be ready to take the next step, and actually hopefully the next time we come it'll be for groundbreaking.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, go ahead. Mayor
Just
Pro Tem
want
Miller.
to thank you guys for your investment in the city of Port Huron. I think it's a key part of the puzzle to revitalize downtown Port Huron, and it's encouraging and exciting to see what's going to happen with this building. It's been there as long as I've lived here all my life, and I'm just thrilled that you guys are making this investment, put forth this effort, and I just want to say I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there any, Councilmember Fisher?
Same thing. I'm just going to reiterate what Councilmember Miller said, or Mayor Pro Tem Miller, and all. And I know this has been a long process. In fact, I was kind of surprised. I got an email from somebody today who said, "Why does this have to be so rushed through?" And I think after what you folks have been through, and I think it's been about 15 months, hasn't it, since you first announced, and all. It's been very public and very clear to me what's going. Well, very, very clear in the newspaper to the public should be what's going on. And again, I would just want to applaud you for the investment you're making and what you're doing, and being a lover of historic properties, I am just beyond excited to see what this is, to see this building brought back to the way it should look. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other council members have any comments or questions?
Mayorette?
Yes, Councilmember Archibald.
Just for clarification, mostly for the audience, the loan is 1.5 million. It is the only loan that is to be paid back on this project, correct?
Correct. $1 million is a grant to the city of Port Huron, one of 4 in the nation.
And the city has first lien if for some reason this loan were not to be paid from you back to us. We have first right of the building, is that correct?
The city will have a first lien initially, but when we work with the New Market Tax Credits project, all the funds have to go through that. If something were to occur on the building, they need to know that that building, let's say if there's a fire or a flood or something, they need to know that that building will be rebuilt as is. So it's kind of a long-term security in the project, for the project, but in that case, the 108 will have to be in a second position behind the New Market Tax Credits dollars. And that's standard protocol for how HUD works with how they interact with these types of projects across the country.
And at that point, who would own the building?
Landmark would.
Okay. I meant if Landmark fails to pay this loan back to the city.
That would go back to the city would be in the second position, so it would go back to the tax credit owners and the city. You'd have a position on it as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else on council have any comments or questions? Okay, thank you very much, and I also applaud you for your investment in Port Huron.
You're welcome. It's a great community, and we're excited about it. There's so much going on economically here, We all have challenges in Michigan, but it's a very unique community with the assets you have and the activities taking place. So we're happy to be here.
We look forward to your grand opening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Fisher?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Councilmember Moeller?
No.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes.